Louis Patron back with the Key West Lou Legal Hour. Thank you again for joining me this morning. I'm glad you remembered me. As I said, I was gone 9 weeks. I couldn't come on last week when I returned because I had jet lag bad. I'm just getting over it. I was sharing with you my observation in Greece. 5 weeks I spent in Greece, in different parts of Greece. I was in Santorini, I was in Mykonos, different islands, Amagos, and in the city of Athens, the big city of Athens itself. So I saw a lot and talked with a lot of people. The German party, the Nazi party rather, is growing, the Golden Dawn party, and will be an influence, more so next year than even this year. Some of the other things they're doing that, if you think back, are relative, similar to what happened in Nazi Germany. They have a theme song. It's called Auschwitz. Remember Auschwitz? They dragged people out of houses, put them in trucks, put them on trains, and took them to be gassed. Auschwitz. They've added some words to the Auschwitz song, their theme song. One is, and I can't say this word, but it begins with F, two more letters, and it has a K. F K. You know the word I'm talking about. And it's F. Annie Frank. Remember the story of Anne Frank? She stayed with her family in an attic behind walls and everything for years and finally got caught at the end. And just before the Allied troops came in, she was exterminated. Well, it's F. Annie Frank. Another one is, another line they put into Auschwitz, their theme song, is Juden Raus. Juden Raus. That is Jewish or German, I'm not sure, but it means Jews out. This is what the German soldiers would say when they came up in the truck and they stopped at a building, whether in a ghetto or not in a ghetto, and they wanted all the Jewish people to come out of the building. They'd shout, Juden Raus. And they're doing that. And this apparently is very insulting or distasteful, upsetting to the Jewish people today, as it should be. So what it boils down to, really, is Hitler's Jews are Greek immigrants today. The Jews of Hitler's time are similar and are the same as the immigrants in Greece today. I believe, unfortunately, that history does repeat itself. It does repeat itself. And I see it repeating itself here, and I know you also feel it is repeating itself after I've shared these things with you. That's the way man is. He never pays attention to what happened in the past. I sense only bad things coming from this, unless the Euro situation turns around quickly, and it isn't going to. So Greece is going to be in further trouble. More and more people. They're going after middle-class people, this Nazi party in Greece. They have opened storefronts in the suburbs, middle-class suburbs, to get people to sign up, okay, and join the party. They know what they're doing. They're marketing well. They're going to be there. What grows from this, I don't know. We all hope it's not as Hitler's time was. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to Egypt. When the revolution started, not this one because they want to dump Morsi, the previous one they wanted to get rid of Mubarak. It's not even 2 years ago. It's less than 2 years ago. I said in writing, I said on the show, we are making a mistake by saying we do not support Mubarak, we support the people in the street. And the reason I said that, not because I'm so smart, but Mubarak was our friend. He'd been our friend for almost 40 years. We could depend on this guy, and he could depend on us. He also supported Israel, the only one of very few Middle East countries to do that, or Arab countries, to be more specific. What more did we want? What more did we want? But yet right away, and Hillary Clinton is, I think, a terrific woman and very intelligent, would make a great president, in my opinion. Why did she have to come out and say, we support democracy? Why the hell do we always come out when there's a demonstration in the street and young people are yelling and screaming and we say, this is democracy in action. We support this type of democracy. Keep our mouth shut. Let whatever's going to happen, happen, because we don't influence it. And let's see how it falls out. We got rid of a friend in getting rid of Mubarak. Instead of more liberal people coming to power, the Egyptian people elected a radical Islamist, so far to the right. He belonged to the religious people. These people are nuts. They're way to the right. And you see what happens. His government's been toppled now because they didn't do anything good for those people who were in the street yelling and screaming. Now we don't know who's going to come to power. The military's in power. What people do not understand, the military has always been in power in Egypt, even with Mubarak. They were his strength in the background. The generals have always really ruled the country. And right now they're exerting themselves. And if the Islamists don't want to put their guns down, they're going to shoot them down. And that is what's happening. I don't know where we're better off. All I know is we made the bad move back then, and I think we're making a bad move right now. So we're not going to have a joint exercise next week with them militarily. We're still giving them billions of dollars, you know. We give, I don't know how many billions of dollars every year. It's a set amount to Egypt. And Congress hasn't pulled back on it. The law says that permits this for this billions of dollars, that if there's trouble with the government, we can pull it back. We don't have to give it to them. The time is coming to give it to them again. No one said we're not going to give it to them. But who do we give it to? The military, the Islamists, or the people who should be in power because they appear to be Democrats, the liberals. Liberals, they want a different world. The women don't want to dress the way the Arabs want them to dress. Girls want to wear mini skirts. They want to go out. They want to drive cars. They don't want to get killed or go to jail because they had sex with a man. Changing world, and we're making bad mistakes. There's something called character. Character. And I believe, and I'm not holier than thou, I believe, though, that character is lacking in many of our political candidates. I don't have to tell you that. But I want to be specific. In the race for comptroller in the city of New York, comptroller, not mayor, you've got two candidates with checkered backgrounds. Now, in the old days, because I'm 78 years old, 50 years ago, you were dead politically if either of these things happened that I'm going to talk about. But today we seem to accept that. We accept flaws in our political officials, our public officials. I don't understand. We don't hold them to certain standards to which they should be held. Even though we're all human, they're going to make mistakes, but they make flagrant mistakes. Example, comptroller's race for the Democratic nomination for comptroller of the city of New York, Eliot Spitzer. Former governor of New York, he had to resign. Why did he resign? Because he was going to prostitutes. He went to Washington to go to bed with a hooker, paid her $4,000 to $5,000 for the situation, and her train fare from New York to Washington. He did not want to get caught. He got caught. He had to resign. Why did he resign? Not because he was caught having sex with a hooker or a prostitute. He resigned because, excuse me, while he was Attorney General, he prosecuted madams. He prosecuted prostitution. The guy's a whore. He's playing with whores, and he is a whore. I mean, people, he chastises them. He puts them in jail for doing the same thing that he himself is doing. Not he himself, because they didn't put the Johns in jail, but he's participating in that world that he said was so bad. He's running for comptroller, and is probably going to get elected. Another Democratic nominee, or person running for the Democratic nomination, who was an announced candidate even before Spitzer, is Kristen Davis. Kristen Davis, 38 years old. She is a former madam, ran her own house of prostitution, claims Spitzer was one of her clients. She was arrested this past Tuesday by the FBI because she's been selling prescription drugs, and she's now sitting in jail. She did 4 months on a prostitution charge at one time, and she's running for office. We got a madam, we got one of her customers, does not make sense to me. What has happened to character? And then, the best of all, is Anthony Weiner, who's running for mayor in New York. I mean, he sent pictures of himself naked, his genitals, to girls or ladies over the internet after he got caught, and he said, I promise to sin no more, with his wife standing next to him on television. He did it 3 more times, as he has acknowledged. He isn't going to win. He's getting killed right now. But character, what happened to character? We are going to station break. I will be back immediately thereafter. Stay with me.